What's up guys, my name's Neel Jain, and today we're building an electric guitar pedal. So the pedal consists of three main components. There's the wooden faceplate, the aluminum housing, and the resin foot switch. Now I do have an old pedal that I'm going to be using as a reference for the geometry of my new one. I'm also going to be stealing the circuit from that one, so even though my design is going to be different, it's pretty important that I'm mindful of the orientation of the old one. And now I have my top wood plate where the holes are spot on from the original, and the circuit fits. Perfect, on to step 2. So we're doing a metal housing. This is aluminum sheet metal that I'm marking out using my old pedal as a guide. Cutting my shape out and drilling my holes.
Yeah, that's perfect.
That was not perfect, but that's okay. And bam, that's our circuit housing. Awesome, we're moving right along to the resin foot switch. So you might be able to guess just from the name, but the foot switch is the button you press with your foot to turn the pedal on. I wanted a nice plastic button, so I thought I'd try something I've never done before and cast some epoxy resin. I made a 2-part mold in NX and printed it using TPU filament because I needed it to be somewhat flexible so I could bend my casted resin out of the cavity once it cured. I measured out equal parts of resin A and B and tried to stir slowly to avoid any air bubbles. I also coated the insides of both halves of my mold with Vaseline to make sure the resin would not stick to the inner cavity. I sealed my mold with rubber bands and let it cure for 12 hours. So, that didn't work. The resin didn't fill all the cracks and it wasn't fully cured, so it deformed. But I got creative. I still wanted a resin button, and I realized I made the sprue on my mold pretty thick, so I was actually able to use that and hollow it out to be my new button. Also, I decided at the last minute that I wanted a rubbery texture on my button so that it might be just a bit more comfortable to press on. So I used heat shrink tubing to conform the material to my resin switch. Time to put everything together. I modeled this plastic insert that helps elevate the circuit board to the right height. I adjusted my top plate and added the knobs that came from the old pedal. You can also see the black foot switch I was just making already press fit on the board. The last thing to do is connect all cables and power, and we're set. So what does it sound like? Well, I wrote this next little soundtrack to show you what it sounds like from my guitar with and without the pedal on.